work is still being lost in sticky notes, text spreadsheets, and those bloated CRMs. And Jan Levine is attacking that chaos with Voice First AI. He is the CEO behind ClientPulse.ltd. They are a verticalized client hub built for salons, repair shops, law firms, agents, and sales teams. And we're here to discuss it. We're here on the Marketer of the Day podcast with Robert Plank. We're brought to you by dfypodcast.com, where we handle the podcast backend, editing, publishing, and promotion, so you can focus on the interview. And the interview we're focusing on today is about this amazing tool that this good friend of ours has created. I think when I last talked to you, Jan, it was maybe like a year ago, and you were doing retirement planning, and then you come out and you have a whole SaaS created, a whole app that you say you've created with AI, and you're reinventing yourself. And it's just like it's so crazy how with these tools, some of these tasks that might have taken 2 years, 3 years can be done in a few weeks or months. And so we're here to just talk about some possibilities and what can be done to make our lives simpler and to embrace the tidal wave chaos that is AI that's taking over our lives. That way we can use it to get where we want in life and in business. So Jan, great to see you again. How are you?
Great to be here. And yes, it's been a fascinating transition, back to my roots, which is as a programmer. I go way back to the 1980s when I first started programming, literally with plugs and wires. And what the genesis of all of this was, my financial planning practice was growing so rapidly that I found that I was losing contact with my clients. I was missing appointments, and it was becoming burdensome. So I started looking at alternatives, HubSpot, Salesforce, all of the things that are out there, and those were all too big for a small guy like me. And when I looked at the smaller systems, they had no functionality. So this all started with kind of a self-defense mechanism to build something for my own practice. And I decided to embrace AI, and it's been a totally extraordinary journey, quite frankly. And I created the first system for insurance and financial, a completely voice-driven system, so that when I leave a client's home or business, all I have to do is pick up my phone, hit the client pulse button on my phone, and dictate in there. I just left Robert Plank and his wife. Robert's number is 1234567. He's the president of DYI. His phone number is 800-567-8910. His email address is robert@xyz.com. And he's got $25,000 in an investment account with Schwab. He's got $50,000 in an IRA with ABC management firm. He has a $50,000 CD with XYZ Bank One that matures in December. I dictate all of that in there, including I want to talk to Robert next Thursday at 1 o'clock. And I hit a button, and all of that information gets instantly absorbed by voice into Robert's record on my account, all in a matter of seconds as I'm walking out to the car from the appointment before I even get to sit down. By the time I sit down at the wheel, Robert's already gotten an email thanking him and telling him our next appointment is at 10 o'clock, next Thursday. And the day before, on Wednesday, you're going to get an email and a text that says you have an appointment with Jan at 10 o'clock tomorrow. And then 4 hours before the appointment and 15 minutes before the appointment, it notifies again. All of this is done completely automatic, all done by just speaking into my cell phone.
Very nice. And I can only imagine the kind of the struggle that there might be in keeping it simple, right? And it's like right before we hit record, you were kind of talking about how like AI kind of replaces employees, which like on the surface sounds bleak, right? That's what the news headlines say, like, oh, they'll put truck drivers out of a job, like all these jobs will be replaced by AI. But it's like for guys like you and me who are like, well, we kind of need that, right? And so it's like, well, in your case, you said, well, you used to have a team of programmers. Now you still have a team, and like it still costs a little bit of money, but it's instant, right? Instead of someone, hey, I'll get to work on that, talk to you in 3 weeks. It's like, hey, it's been coded, 30 minutes later. And then likewise, if someone is like, leaving that client's house, what would you do in the old timey days? You'd go and you'd call the secretary and, hey, take down these notes and write all this stuff down. And so now we're just replacing that and making it an instant and automatic. So like that helps to get my brain around that, because like I'm a former programmer too, and even my head gets all crazy thinking about the MCP server, so you can kind of talk to it in plain language and updates your CRM. It even hurts my brain, but to say, okay, well, here's what you could literally have a human on the phone and say, okay, like update this record, send this reminder. And instead of that, it's just the machine does it automatically for us and replaces what that employee might be. And so it seems like this is so needed, right? Because there's so many like service industries where these reminders like just don't happen, let alone instantly.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, and the idea here is not to replace people, but to free up my time as a insurance agent in this case, so that I can do my job better and stay in touch with my client. Because what I've built into this is this rather amazing contact system, where part of the initial recording is I put in your birth date and your anniversary, and on your birthday and on your wife's birthday and on your anniversary, 9 o'clock in the morning, all of my clients who have birthdays or anniversaries that day pops up on my screen with a customized email, and to remind me that Robert's birthday is today. When I hit the button, it gives me the opportunity with a single button click to hit a button, and the video camera goes on, and I can do a 15, 20-second, hey, Robert, happy birthday, blah, 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 just terrific, how's the dog? And it's very, very personalized. I hit the button, and that email with the embedded video goes out to you instantly. And reminders are set up automatically, so that reminders of what I need to do, next Thursday. And all of that is done completely automated with nothing but a voice input.
Very cool. So, and it seems like there's like the human in the loop aspect, right? Like there's the voice speaking out into what to update. And then with these birthday reminders, like you can create the personalized videos, because that's another fear with AI and automation too, isn't it? That it'll just have so many crazy things happening in the background. I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know what texts and what emails it's sending. And then it kind of loses its value, doesn't it? Because if someone knows that, oh, they're just getting this automated reminder from Jan, and if they get like in the future, if they get like 30 texts on their birthday from all these different people, it's like, then it's, what's the point of that? Like no one's even caring. But so I like what you have here, where it kind of tees up the personal video, which like that's one of these super cool selling techniques that like I used to do like 10 to 15 years ago, but stopped doing, where like, you just make these 1-minute videos, and you can kind of do them at scale, and you can kind of do, like 20, 30 at a time if you had to. And so like, is this I'm curious about like the follow-up techniques such as this, because they seem to be like simple enough, but so few people do them, right? The appointment reminders, the birthday reminders, the personal videos. So like, what impresses you, or what has worked well for you as far as just taking care of the clients better?
Well, and that's the whole point of the system, is to improve client communication. And you're spot on with what you said about, there's a zillion systems that are out there, where your service company, whatever it is, it knows it's your birthday, and it sends you a rather bland text, even an email. And they're obviously systems generated, and they become almost superfluous. Oh gosh, now here we have, I got 4 more birthday wishes, and there's not one of them that was anybody took the time to call me. The reason that I built this the way that I did is that it not only brings up a email and allows me to embed a personal text into it, but it's also got a call button right next to it. So that after that email goes out, all I have to do is hit the call button and it brings up your phone instantly. And then I can have a quick hello. The whole thing takes nothing but a minute of my
Yeah.
time, and I'm in touch directly, eye to eye, ear to ear, with the client on their anniversary, their birthday, and even when a policy is about to expire. You have all of that in the system so that it prompts you. But the whole idea is to use the concept of AI and the concept and the power of a contact management system, melding them so that the contact is very personalized and very much one-on-one. Later on, I want to be able to show you quickly a system that I created for grandmothers and grandfathers that allows the same concept for a grandma and grandpa to click on one of the kids' faces and literally get into a video call with them. Very, very personalized.
Oh yes, and let's show that in a moment. Keeping in mind that someone might be watching or they might be listening, so we'll have to show, but also kind of like narrate if we can about what we'll be clicking. But I like how you're blending the old with the new, and you're giving me like little flashbacks to like and I was never consistent with it, but I used to sell like software and PDFs and courses and things like that. And when I was in kind of a good mood, if I had like even just like a $7, $27 sale come in, I would pick up the phone because I had their phone number. They paid with like a credit card and they checked out. I pick up the phone like minutes later, I'd call, and usually I would get a voicemail, leave a message. Just like, okay, cool. I don't have to talk to the person. It's easy enough. But then when someone picked up, I'd say like, hey, just saw you bought, want to make sure you got your download. And then sometimes I'd get like, oh, are you trying to sell me something or what's this about? I'm like, no, I'm just kind of adding the human touch, keeping in touch. And so I can imagine if anyone, right, if someone who's in any of these industries that you help people with, like insurance, real estate, retirement planning, etc., if like life insurance, right, if you just stay in touch, like if the policy is about to expire, then suddenly it's not that drastic of a change, right? Here's Jan, he's already staying in touch with me, and he's just been kind of there on the radar, and he hasn't been really pushy. But when it's time to renew the policy, it's not that awkward. And so before we get to the demo real quick, I'm curious about just the confidence issue, because I can imagine, especially in this day and age, easy to hide behind AI, computer, internet. If someone says, oh, the phone call or the video is like, I know that I should do it, I know it would help my business, but if they're like nervous about it because it is a new habit to pick up, what's your advice as far as rising to the occasion and taking action despite the fear?
Well, the whole concept of having all of these tools automated so that there's no hesitation, there's no process management. The system knows what it needs to do and is constantly reminding the agent, you have these tasks to do today. You can put those tasks off if you wish to because you're busy or tied up on another call. But the personalization of all of these things, that I've used AI almost in a reverse mode to take what people are concerned about with AI, that it is cold, that it is replacing people, that it is fake. And I've intentionally turned that around from a development standpoint to make it a very much of a personalized tool. Just as an example, watch this.
Okay. So
There's
you
our
click
health screen. How do I send an embedded video to Robert? Oops. How do I send an embedded video to Robert? And this will come back now and give me. Oh, my bad. But the point is, she's interactive with every single function in the system, so I don't have to be looking for help. All I have to do is ask her. She'll tell me exactly what I need to do. That help button is has gotten a lot of reaction, personalizing AI at a very, very, deep level.
That's cool. So yeah, for those just only listening, not seeing, you have the like a help button, and we've all seen like the live chat buttons, but then you talk to it, and then it gives you the answer right there. So it's like it's less thinking, and so I like what you said about there's less hesitation, right? The AI, it can't do everything, but it's done maybe 80% of the preparation. So now all you have to do is do that extra human touch that only you can do, and so that way we have less talking ourselves out of it, less thinking. We just go and we take some action. And so you said you had a little bit of a demo to show us as far as like that family tree concept. And so I'm curious, what can be done with this?
Okay, so so we're already up on the screen here.
Okay.
So the way this works. Well, actually, let me go over here. Um, hold on. Okay, so here is a system where everybody is set up in a picture basis. This is designed to be very simple to use for grandmas and grandpas. So they take pictures of their children and their grandchildren and put them up on a client wall like this. And when Judy's birthday is comes up, the system notifies grandma and grandpa, hey, it's Judy's birthday today. All you have to do is click on it. Right now, it's calling Judy on the phone so that Judy can pick up and talk to grandma. Or I could do a meet. Oops, sorry about that. I could do a meet now, and now instantly Judy has gotten a video link where all I have to do now is click on OK, and the video link is open. And now Judy will answer her phone on her cell phone, and now Grandma's talking to Judy one on one. But in addition to that, what I built into this was what I think is one of the more powerful things that's ever been out there, and that is this reminder system. And take your medication, call mom, pay the rent, take out the dog. Parents and grandparents get very, very busy. So they can set up these reminders, and the reminders can be a single event every day at this time, every Wednesday at this time, weekends only, monthly, anything that they want. And these reminders will go out both via text and right on the cell phone that it's time to take your blood pressure medicine. So the
Oh, cool.
grandma and grandpa are never going to forget. All that's done automatically and set up either by the kids or the grandparents, and allow that level of contact. So again, using AI in a very, very personalized manner to improve not only the communications between parents and grandparents and their children, but to help grandma and grandpa, who kind of tend to be a little bit forgetful, remind them to take their blood pressure at 8:15 every single morning.
Nice. So there's the same technology you have, but you have applied it for work and for personal, right? There's this idea of the reminders and letting the AI kind of like organize you, so that way you don't have to use that extra mental space on the administrative tasks, and you just focus on what's important to you. And so it's been a great education here as far as some of these best practices and what you've learned and accomplished. And like, have these reminders, have these follow-ups. There's no longer an excuse, right? If someone says, oh, well, I don't have time to figure out a CRM, or got to do lots of typing in my phone, you're like, well, now you can just speak into it and it happens. And so in these final few minutes of our conversation, do you think there might be either one final feature to show, or do you think there might be a missing question that I should be asking you, I just don't know to ask you?
Uh, Rather, I think what I'd like to do is kind of sum it up with the fact that all of these features are designed not to replace but to augment communication, not to have any negative effect on anything artificial, just the opposite, personalizing everything, whether it's that contact for the appointment, as an example, with the beauty salons, the level of system, the level of detail that we accumulate within a beauty salon, right down to their hair color formula and what they like and what they don't like. All of this is done with dictation. People in beauty salons, auto repair shops, veterinarians, they don't want to type. They're not adept at it, and
Right.
as a result, they tend to either forget or not be inclusive enough with all of the detail that's going to make that client relationship so important for the client. They realize that one-on-one contact, and it helps them to build their business. This whole thing is about finding better ways to communicate at a personal level with all clients so that you can build your business and build the confidence with your client.
Very good. And it's friendly for the rest of us. Like they talk about like the different generations, right? And they say that like the boomers and the Gen X, they like phone, and then the millennials like email, and then the Gen Z like text messages. And it's a lot to figure out. But I think we're all excluding maybe the youngest kids, we're all used to talking on the phone, right? It's come naturally for a lot of us since being a child. And then there's all this kind of new technology and interfaces and texting and clicking, and it always changes, and it can be so confusing. And so I can really relate to just being able to just like speak it out. Hey, here's this appointment I was just on. Here's what I want to do. Well, I'm trying to figure out this one feature to apply for the nail salon. I'll talk to the help button and just like have a conversation. And it's like what probably the promise of computers were to begin with, right? Like you say, you used to program with the plug in the wires into the wall, and it's like they say computers were supposed to make our lives easier, not more difficult. So hopefully this is kind of on the path back to that, of just you talk to it, and then you get your business or your personal reminders all figured out. And so if someone says, well, this sounds like a great tool I want to jump in and use, what's the next step? Where should someone go?
Well, it's very simple. All they have to do is go to Client Pulse Ltd, and I'll do it live so everybody can see. You simply go to Client Pulse Ltd, and you click on the Start Free button, and you fill in your name and your email. It'll instantly send you a sign-up code. There's no credit card required. We allow everybody to try the system for no cost, and it's all done in a matter of seconds. They set up a new agent, and the agent then can perform all of these tasks. They determine what their particular vertical is, and then off they go. It's all done literally in less than 90 seconds, start to finish, with no credit card required.
Very cool. So this is a tool we should sign up and get to playing around with, get to using. And there's so many. I mean, it's hard to get onboarded with a new tool, right? There's so many, and there's been a lot over the years where I just started off like this, right? I started with like the free trial, and it became kind of integrated into what I did on a daily basis. And the next thing I know, I couldn't live without using Zoom, or I couldn't live without YouTube or Facebook or Messenger or these sorts of things. So if you have been struggling keeping up, especially with the customer relations and especially with the follow-up, it seems like the lack of follow-up is like a universal problem. So if you want to stand out in whatever your vertical is, if you're someone that just follows up a little more than everyone else, if you just put a little bit of time every day into using this tool, then you're going to just really stand out as far as the way those customers think of you and remember you and refer you to others. And so you need to sign up at clientpulse.ltd. It's where you can manage all your client interactions with your voice. It's the modern hub for virtually every business that deals with individual clients. You dictate new client information. The AI summarizes your calls. You book, you manage, and you sync all your appointments to your calendar, all within one application called Client Pulse. And it's tuned for beauty and nail salons, auto service and repair, law firms, insurance and financial, real estate, product sales, HVAC, veterinarians. and you sign up at clientpulse.ltd, and it'll change your life. It'll change your business, especially the way that you get reminded and handle your appointments, remind others, and follow up with those prospects and customers. It's an amazing, life-changing tool at clientpulse.ltd. But before I let you go, Mr. Jan, it's time for the scary part of the podcast where I try to stump you. I try to put you on the spot by asking you about a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you. So what comes to mind as far as a fun or interesting quote or lesson?
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I wasn't even, I had forgotten that's what you like. That's what you like to do, and I think the thing to relate is a client story that happened just the other day, where one of my new users, who is a investment professional, as they were leaving this new client, picked up the phone like I've described, dictated all of that information in. And by the time he got into his car, the client had already received a thank you email and an appointment reminder. And this client was so impressed that he actually ran out the door while the agent was out on the way to his car and said, "That was the most amazing contact that I've ever seen. You've given me the confidence that you really care about me." And that's what this is all about. Using AI to find a better way for people to care for and by each other.
Wonderful. And wouldn't you like to be that person who's the hero to your customers, who says, man, this guy, Jan, he followed up with, I got a text message when he was on his way out the door. No one else does that. It's something that we can all do and should do, especially if you want to be a hero to those customers and clients. So clientpulse.ltd is the place to go. And it's been quite a fun education about what's possible. So people should sign up right now, clientpulse.ltd. And thanks for taking the time, Jan.
Thank you, Robert. Great to see you as always, my friend.